can't you tell? Gotta laugh, got a point, join me. Let's get this thing right.
What up, what up, what up? Bullite back with another one. It's your boy Bush. What's good though? What's going on? You know what we do. We do the reactions right now. I'm back on them reactions. Today's topic, you know, something that surprised me. I'm sure a lot of y'all knew this, but I wasn't privy to this information like that, you know. I knew about the allegations of telling to the police and things like that. Yeah. You know, Wack was defending him. Wack, this is a big friend of Wack. We talking about QCP, the boss of quality control music. We about to react to this video that caught my eye because, like I said, I'm not privy to this information, so I want to see what's going on. Oh, man. It's a whole bunch of stuff they talking, man. A lot of stuff. So let's get to the bottom of this. We'll be the judge of this. You feel me? QCP. They said the boy was a snake and he was a rat and he was this, he was that. Them artists ain't been getting paid up. That's what he said. I know Migos had a situation. Migos had to take him to court. But I guess my boy here, and let's see what's the name of the channel. You know, Hip Hop History. Shout out to Hip Hop History. They did a whole documentary, and I think they're gonna break down the details and things like that. Definitely interested in that. You feel me? Let's do QCP. That boy P. Let's set it off. Let's start it.
So they were gonna buy him out of his deal for 150 and have him signed. Baby was like, and they said, "Oh, you can't make your mind up? All right, fuck it. We'll just go to your bosses and give them double for everybody." And they bought the entire 300. Now, when the purchase happens, P gets the 300 million.
What if I told you that one man managed to finesse some of rap's biggest stars out of over $1 billion in potential earnings? What if I told you this same man built his empire on the backs of artists who trusted him only to snake them when the money got too big? And what if I told you that this man's rise to power started with him literally snitching on someone and getting them locked up for 20 years? Meet Pierre.
Hip Hop History. Sound like he got some vengeance going on. I don't know. But he did state some things. We do know about him taking a stand against somebody, but I don't know about this other stuff. Let's really get into it though.
P. Thomas, the CEO of Quality Control Music. On the surface, he looks like a successful businessman who helped launch the careers of Lil Baby, Migos, and other Atlanta superstars. But when you dig deeper into the paperwork, the phone calls, and the business deals, a completely different picture emerges. This is the story of how one man manipulated the system, betrayed his artist's trust, and walked away with hundreds of millions while leaving the people who made him rich with nothing. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly.
You said leaving the people that made him rich with nothing. Actually, all those artists got money too, so let's not say that. They all got money.
How P pulled off one of the biggest finesse jobs in hip-hop history. And trust me, the details are going to blow your mind. So make sure you stick around until the end, because what I'm about to show you will change how you look at the music industry forever. Before we get into how P finessed his way to the top, we need to understand where this whole story started. Pierre Thomas wasn't always the suit-wearing CEO you see today. Back in the day, P was deep in Atlanta's streets, and according to court documents that surfaced in 2023, his transition from the streets to the boardroom involved some seriously questionable moves. See, P's entry into the music business wasn't some inspiring rags to riches story. It was calculated, and it started with betrayal. On December 8th, 2009, P was at an apartment complex that was basically a marijuana trap house, playing Xbox and betting on basketball games. The apartment belonged to his friend, Coron Dennis, and it was about to become the scene of a murder that would change P's life forever. According to court documents, a man named Keon, who went by the street name Stunner or showed up looking to buy marijuana. When Quran went to get the product, Stunner opened fire, shooting Quran multiple times before turning the gun on P. P managed to escape through a sliding glass door, but Quran died from his injuries. This wasn't just a...
Sound like a jug gone wrong. Boy had to kill him. Damn, why you do that?
random robbery. This was personal. Now here's where the story gets really wild. Instead of handling this situation the way most street dudes would, P decided to cooperate with law enforcement. And I'm not talking about just giving a statement. I'm talking about becoming a full-blown confidential informant. The court documents show that P provided police with detailed descriptions of the shooter, helped them identify Stunner through photo lineups, and continued feeding them information for months.
He said P was knee-deep in the streets. It don't sound like really, I don't know, he's selling some weed, okay. Is that knee-deep in the streets? Was he really knee-deep in the streets? That's my question now. He told on the boy, whatever else, but was he a civilian that just got caught up in selling some weed, or was he really knee-deep in the streets? Let's go.
He told investigators that Stunner was approximately 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, with a mohawk and possible face tattoos. But when they first showed him photos, P couldn't make an identification. Here's where it gets really calculated. P kept in contact with investigators, telling them what he was hearing on the streets.
That sounded like, he said when they first showed him the photo, P couldn't identify homie. And then later, he changed his mind, I guess. That sound like some cold calculator shit right there. Maybe he said, shit, I ain't in the street, shit, I'm trying to do this. Fuck all that. I'm telling. That's what these niggas do nowadays. I don't know, but I'm just trying to figure out, was he deep in the streets, or was he just a man that got caught up in a bad situation?
It's about who might have been responsible. He provided information that helped police identify Stunner as someone who used the nickname and had previously been a shooting victim. 5 months after the initial shooting, P was finally able to positively identify Stunner in a photo lineup. But P wasn't done. On May 27, 2010, P was at Lenox Mall when he spotted Stunner. Instead of avoiding confrontation, P approached him and started asking if he knew who he was. According to P's written statement to police, he confronted Stunner about the murder, which led to Stunner pulling out a black handgun and chasing P into the mall while threatening to kill him.
Stunner ain't no dude you need to be approaching, sound like. Stunner pulled that thing out in broad day at the mall, running through the mall on him. Stunner don't sound like that type to play with. So what happened? Damn. So P approached him on some, what happened with that? And Stunner pulled that thing out and chased him, according to the documents.
P immediately called the police and told them exactly where to find Stunner. Within minutes, officers had pulled over Stunner's vehicle and arrested him. The crazy part is that no weapon was found in the car, but Stunner was still charged with aggravated assault based solely on P's statement. The paperwork is crystal.
You never mess with a thug with the bell pepper nose like that, you feel me? Stunner, you feel me, like, man, reckless endangerment. He pulled that thing out at the mall. What is that, Lenox? They probably was at Lenox Mall.
Clear, fam. P was the only civilian witness listed in the case. His statement was the main evidence that got Stunner convicted and sentenced to 20 years in prison. This wasn't some street justice or self-defense situation. This was straight-up cooperation with law enforcement to eliminate someone P saw as a threat. Stunner
That looked like it could be P brother, tell you the truth. Relative, they got the same nose too.
Tried to fight back from prison, writing letters to the judge claiming that P had made false accusations because P was afraid Stunner would retaliate for P shooting him first. But it was too late. The damage was done and Stunner was locked up for 2 decades. But here's the crazy part. P used this situation as his origin story for getting into music. He's been quoted saying he wanted to get into the music business as a way to get out of the streets and see his kids grow up. What he doesn't mention is that his way out involved putting another man behind bars for 2 decades. The timeline is what makes this whole thing suspicious. The Stunner situation happened in 2009 and 2010. Quality Control Music was founded in 2013. That's a pretty quick turnaround from street life to having enough capital to start signing major artists. The question becomes, where did that initial money really come from? P claims he was already a millionaire before getting into music, but when you look at the facts, that timeline doesn't quite add up. How does someone go from being involved in street-level transactions to having millions to invest in a record label in just 3 years? Either P was sitting on way more money than anyone knew, or there are parts of this story that haven't been told.
Or he was in the streets. So that means he was, they expect him to abide by these codes and these laws of the rat. Damn, look at this dude. Whew, that nose is mean. That boy ain't spending that money. Man, that's one of them nostrils right there, nostralities.
What we do know is that P was incredibly strategic about how he entered the music business. He wasn't trying to be the flashy label head throwing money around at industry parties. Instead, he was methodical. He studied the Atlanta music scene, identified the gaps in the market, and positioned himself to fill those gaps. P understood something that a lot of other label executives missed. Atlanta's street culture and its music culture were completely intertwined. You couldn't succeed in one without understanding the other. His street background, as problematic as it was, gave him credibility with artists who were coming from similar situations. But P also understood that the street credibility alone wasn't enough. He needed to learn the business side of music, and he needed to do it fast. According to
one thing he did do, he learned something, because he got bags on bags from this music game. Y'all saying he robbed these artists. We know Migos sued him. Let's keep it pushing.
People who knew him during this period, P was constantly studying contracts, learning about publishing, and figuring out how the major label system worked. The genius of P's approach was that he didn't try to compete with major labels on their terms. Instead, he created a different model, one that combined street credibility with business sophistication. He could talk to artists in their language, but he could also structure deals that protected his interests. This is where P's background in the streets actually helped him in an unexpected way. Street life teaches you to be paranoid, to always think about how people might try to take advantage of you, and to structure situations so that you maintain control. Those same skills translated perfectly to the music business. P also
Boy ain't trusting nothing. I ain't see too many interviews. He got some interviews. I ain't see too many though.
Understood that loyalty was a currency in both the streets and the music industry. If he could get artists to see him as family rather than just a business partner, they would be less likely to question his decisions or look too closely at the contracts they were signing. So how does someone go from being a street dude to having enough money to start signing major artists? That's where P's story gets really interesting, because the timeline doesn't quite add up the way he wants you to think it does. When P and Coach K founded Quality Control Music in 2013, they weren't starting from scratch. They had been watching the Atlanta music scene for years, studying which artists were building real fan bases and which ones were just making noise. Their first major signing was the Migos, but that wasn't a random choice. It was a calculated business decision.
Yeah, because Gucci already had Migos lit in the city. Migos had their self lit. Then they got with Guwap. Guwap had them more lit. And then, so they was already an asset. I guess your boy had the bag, though. He had that money to offer them, I guess.
The Migos had already released several mixtapes and were generating serious buzz in Atlanta's underground scene. They had the street credibility, the musical talent, and the work ethic that P was looking for. But most importantly, they didn't have the industry connections or business knowledge to negotiate a fair deal. P's strategy was brilliant in its simplicity. He identified young, hungry artists who were already making noise but didn't have access to the industry infrastructure they needed to take their careers to the next level. He offered them something they couldn't get anywhere else, a real partnership with someone who understood their world. But here's where P's business model gets really clever and really shady. He wasn't just signing artists to traditional record deals. He was creating 360-degree partnerships that gave QC control over every aspect of the artists' careers: recording, publishing, merchandising, touring, and even social media presence. The genius of this approach was that P didn't need massive upfront investments to get started. He was essentially betting on artists who were already building their own buzz. QC would provide the industry connections and business infrastructure, but the artists were still doing most of the work to build their brands and fan bases. According to the lawsuit documents that came out when the Migos sued QC, P was structuring deals that gave him maximum control and maximum profit while giving artists minimum ownership of their own success. The contracts were designed to last forever, with automatic renewals tied to QC's distribution deals. Think about how insidious that is. As long as QC had a distributor, whether that was Capitol, Atlantic, Warner, or Sony, the artist's contracts would just keep renewing automatically. The artist could never actually leave QC unless QC lost
That sounds like it's worse than that 360 deal.
all of its distribution deals, which was never going to happen. The Migos lawsuit revealed some wild details about how these contracts worked in practice. They claimed their publishing percentages were way below industry standard, and that QC was taking the majority of revenue that should have been going to the artists. We're talking about a group that had multiple platinum albums and billions of streams, but they were getting paid like they were still underground artists. But the most damaging allegation was that the lawyer who negotiated their contracts also worked for QC. Think about that for a second. The person who was supposed to be protecting the Migos' interests was actually working for the other side. That's like having your divorce lawyer also represent your spouse.
That sound like that boy a mob boss, M.O.B. He the real honcho. The new Suge. Is Lil Baby still signed to him? I gotta look that up.
Complete conflict of interest, and it explains how P was able to get artists to sign such unfavorable deals. This is where you start to see P's real strategy. He wasn't just signing artists, he was creating a system where he controlled every aspect of their business. The artists thought they were getting a fair deal, but the contracts were structured to benefit QC at every level. But if you really want to understand how P operates, you need to look at his relationship with Lil Baby, because Baby's story shows you exactly how P builds up an artist, gains their trust, and then positions himself to cash out when the money gets big. When P first signed Lil Baby in 2017, Baby was nobody in the music industry. He was fresh out of prison, trying to make something happen with his...
So the fact is, with the Migos, before we move on to the Baby, Migos took him to court. So obviously they were done wrong. They had to take them to court to get their bread. Unless they talking about the Baby now. Look at Master P. One thing about P, none of his artists came out said he robbed them. All his artists love him still. So we gotta salute P for that. Master P, real South legend. You feel me?
But he didn't have the connections or the resources to break through. Baby had been locked up for 2 years on charges, and when he got out, the Atlanta music scene had completely changed. P saw something in Baby that other people missed. It wasn't just the musical talent, it was the hunger, the work ethic, and the street credibility that Baby brought to the table. But most importantly, Baby was in a vulnerable position where he needed QC more than QC needed him. According to P himself, the early days of Baby's career were rough. P used to send Baby out on promo runs where there would be 3 people in the crowd. Baby would call him back complaining about making no money, about the small crowds, about how hard the grind was, but P kept telling him the same thing. Don't think about money right now, just think about putting yourself in front of a crowd of people. Your breakthrough comes from your sacrifice. That sounds inspirational, right? Like a mentor helping a young artist develop his craft. But when you understand P's business model, you realize what was really happening. P was investing minimal money in Baby's development while Baby was doing all the work to build his brand and his fan base. The sacrifice P was...
Huh? I don't understand what you said. P put him on a path for success. That's what it sounded like to me. He was successful. It worked. Under P's advice, even though homie nose looked like a damn Tyrannosaurus Rex, you feel me? It sounded like he did right by the Lil Baby so far. Put him in the trenches, had to come up from the bottom, and the Baby had a promising career. The Baby got a lot of money. Let's keep going though.
Was talking about wasn't just about Baby giving up fast money from the streets. It was about Baby building an empire that P would ultimately control. Every show Baby did, every fan he gained, every song he recorded was increasing the value of QC's investment, but Baby didn't own any of that value. QC did. P was essentially getting Baby to create his own value while QC maintained ownership of that value. Baby was grinding, performing for small crowds, building his fan base one person at a time. But all of that work was increasing QC's assets, not Baby's net worth. And this strategy worked perfectly. Baby went from doing shows for 3 people to becoming one of the biggest rappers in the world. His streaming numbers exploded, his albums went platinum, and he became the face of Atlanta's new generation of hip-hop. Songs like Drip Too Hard and Life Goes On turned Baby into a household name. But here's the thing. The more successful Baby became, the more valuable QC became, not Baby himself. This is where P's genius really shows. He didn't just sign Baby to a record deal, he created a situation where Baby's success was completely tied to QC's success. Baby couldn't leave without giving up everything he had built. He couldn't renegotiate without P's approval. He was trapped in a system that P had designed to benefit.
You just said Lil Baby just got fresh out of prison, fresh out of the big house. He plugged in with QCP, became a star. Now, money is not an issue with him. He doing his thing. He made it, you know. He got everything going on. Even if he get robbed post publishing, which I don't think that's true. He didn't give me no facts on that. But it seemed like right so far with this situation, I don't know, Lil Baby in a good situation. He got out of prison. He met old boy dude did his thing. Dude did right by him as far as turning him into a star, turning him into something that he could, you know, earn off of legally. Now, if he signs some foul contract, then whose fault is that?
Benefit QC first and the artist second. But Baby didn't see it that way. He saw P as the person who had believed in him when nobody else would. The relationship between P and Baby was built on more than just business. P positioned himself as a father figure, a mentor, someone who genuinely cared about Baby's success. He was at Baby's shows, he was promoting Baby's music on social media, and he was constantly talking about how proud he was of Baby's growth. But that emotional connection was also a business strategy. The closer Baby felt to P personally, the less likely he was to question the business arrangements or look too closely at the contracts he had signed. P was using Baby's loyalty and gratitude as tools to maintain control over his career. What made P's strategy even more effective was the timing. QC was founded right as the music industry was transitioning from physical.
Lil Baby don't come across to me as no super lame. Is it on record that he's suing QCP? If so, then I would like to know, but I doubt that. So I don't know about this one. Let's keep going.
Sales and downloads to streaming. This shift completely changed how artists could build careers and how labels could generate revenue. In the old model, labels needed significant upfront investment to manufacture CDs, get radio play, and secure retail distribution. But in the streaming era, an artist could build a massive fan base with just a laptop and an internet connection. This leveled the playing field in some ways, but it also created new opportunities for exploitation. P understood the streaming game better than most executives. He realized that streaming success wasn't just about having good music. It was about understanding algorithms, playlist placement, and fan engagement. QC invested heavily in digital marketing and streaming optimization, which gave their artists a huge advantage. But here's where it gets interesting. In the Young Thug phone calls that were leaked during his legal troubles, we hear P talking about buying streams for his artists. He's literally bragging about spending $50,000 to buy streams for Gunna's album to help it beat The Weeknd on the charts. P says in the call, like you never earned a #1 album, I spent 50 extra grand buying streams for you to beat me, and Cash know the same plug, so Cash could have did the same thing, but Cash like let it go. This reveals something crucial about how P operates. He's not just relying on organic success. He's actively manipulating the metrics that determine chart positions and industry recognition. And he's doing it in a way that makes the artists feel like they owe him for their success.
Well, that's kind of when the game changed. Once that came into play, that's when the big dogs got control of the culture. Once the this internet era came, that's one part that that's not a pro on that. You feel me? Because they've been doing that. They've been manipulating.
Think about the psychology of that. Gunna thinks he earned a #1 album through his talent and hard work. But P is telling someone else that he bought that success for Gunna. So Gunna feels grateful to P for believing in him, while P knows that he literally purchased Gunna's chart position. This is manipulation at its finest. P is creating artificial success, then using that success to...
Gunna music was good music, so if he gave it a little boost, that doesn't mean he totally, you know what I mean, made it that. It got to be good first of all. Then you give it a boost. That's what I think happened.
Justify his control over the artist's career. The artist thinks they're successful because of their talent and P's guidance, but P knows he's been pulling strings behind the scenes. The streaming era also made it easier for P to hide how much money QC was really making from each artist. In the old model, you could look at album sales and get a rough idea of how much revenue an artist was generating. But streaming revenue is much more complex, with different rates for different platforms, different deals for different territories, and complex formulas for calculating payouts. This complexity gave P Cover to structure deals that heavily favored QC while making it difficult for artists to understand exactly how much money they were leaving on the table. The artists knew they were successful, but they didn't necessarily know how successful they should be financially. P also used the streaming era to expand QC's reach beyond just Atlanta. Streaming platforms are global, which meant that QC's artists could build international fan bases without the traditional infrastructure of international record labels. But again, QC controlled those relationships and captured most of the value from international success. But the Scooter Braun situation
Is Lil Baby still signed to QCP?
isn't the only time we've seen P snake his artists. The Young Thug phone calls revealed a whole pattern of behavior that shows how P really operates behind the scenes. These calls were recorded while Thug was in jail, and they provide an unfiltered look at how industry insiders really talk.
Lil Baby is still signed to Quality Control Music. So he's still there, chilling.
Talk about business when they think nobody is listening. In one of the most damaging calls, Young Thug is talking to Baby about P, and Thug is basically trying to open Baby's eyes to what's really happening. Thug tells Baby, "You can't do that, man. That's a fact, bro. You wrong about that anyway. A rat is a rat, bro. I understand all that. A dude helped put you on. Listen, man, a dude is a rat. I don't care what the hell that dude gave. That dude give me $1 million, man. You a rat." Now, Thug is referring to the stunner situation we talked about earlier, but what's interesting is how he's trying to explain to Baby that P's character issues go deeper than just business. Thug is saying that someone who would cooperate with police to eliminate a threat is the same type of person who would betray his business partners when the money gets big enough. But Thug doesn't stop there. He starts breaking down the business side of things, and this is where it gets really revealing. Thug tells Baby, "You know what I'm saying? He the people."
Thug should have listened to Baby. It sounded like, and that made me think like they be harboring a lot of rats because Baby on some business. He like, nigga, this business. That's a rapper. Baby probably like, that's a rapper. You feel me, blood? That's a rapper, slime. Let that boy go and get your money, slime. And Thug's like, fuck that, he a rat.
Only getting behind your label because of you. They not buying your label because of Migos. Those dudes in the red, those dudes ain't making no money. Watch out, those dudes in the red. What Thug is saying is that QC's value is almost entirely based on Baby's success. The Migos aren't generating the same revenue they used to, and the other artists on the label aren't moving the needle financially. Baby is carrying the entire label, but he's not getting compensated like the star that he is. This is a crucial insight into how QC's business model works.
That says a lot, though, if Migos was in the red after QCP stopped putting money behind them. That means their music wasn't at the level where they made it to be. Maybe they're buying the streams and buying the stuff, put their music up there. Maybe it was supposed to remain local and they'd be just an Atlanta sensation. Because when they did make some big hits. They made big hits. But was that because there was a certain amount of money behind it? You feel me? Because Migos didn't go down in history as like, nobody really take them serious. When they mention Atlanta, they say Outkast. They don't say Migos. Even though Migos got them same damn near, they got them hits though.
P has structured the label so that one or two major artists subsidize the entire operation. Baby's success is paying for everyone else's careers, but Baby doesn't have any ownership stake that reflects his actual contribution to QC's value. Thug goes even further, saying, "One or two of them done bought their stuff back from your ass anyway, then gave you 15, 20 million of their little hard-earned money, bought that stuff back, so you them sure got all them anyway." This suggests that some QC artists have actually paid to get out of their contracts, which means P was making money both from their success and from their desire to leave. That's a wild business model. Profit from artists when they're successful, then profit again when they want to escape.
Wow, business model. The business model is supposed to be get money. You get as much money as you can. You said business, he doing business. If them artists messed up and signed something wrong or did something wrong, who's that? Whose fault is that? He doing business.
Think about how twisted that is. P signs artists to contracts that heavily favor QC. When the artists become successful,
How twisted is that? That sound about right. Sound like what they've been doing for years.
P profits from their success. When the artists realize they're being exploited and want to leave, P makes them pay millions to get out. It's like charging someone rent to live in a house, then charging them again to move out. But the most
sound like he was taught by all the best. Them real label owners. He was taught by them.
revealing part of these calls is when Thug talks about how P operates with other labels and business partners. Thug is trying to explain to Baby that P's loyalty only goes one way. He expects loyalty from his artists, but he doesn't reciprocate when it conflicts with his financial interests. The crazy part is that Baby doesn't really respond to any of this. He's not agreeing with Thug, but he's not defending P either. It's like he's starting to realize that maybe the partnership he thought he had with P wasn't as solid as he believed. You can almost hear the wheels turning in Baby's head as Thug breaks down the reality of his situation. Now, this is where the story gets really wild because we actually have audio of P talking about how he finessed Baby out of what could have been the biggest payday of his career. And the crazy part is, P is bragging about it like it's some kind of business masterclass. In leaked phone calls that surfaced during Young Thug's legal situation, we hear P talking about how Scooter Braun approached Baby with a deal. Now, Scooter Braun is a major player in the music industry. He's managed Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, and other massive stars. When Scooter wants to do business with you, that's a big deal. According to P's own words in these phone calls, Scooter offered Baby $150 million for his catalog. Let me repeat that. $150 million directly to Baby for his music rights.
Why would Baby do that dumb shit? Come on now. Baby's smarter than that.
That's generational wealth type money. That's set your family up forever type money. That's more money than
I'm thinking, my bad, I'm thinking Baby. This dude needs to say Lil Baby. I'm thinking Birdman. Yeah. I don't know. Really, the way it's looking now, it looked like Lil Baby should have took that deal because, like I said, he been cold. The boy ain't been putting out no hits lately.
most people see in 10 lifetimes. But here's what happened. And this is where you see P's manipulation in full effect. When Scooter approached Baby about the deal, Baby told him he couldn't do anything without P being involved. Baby was being loyal to his label and his business partner. He said, I don't really do business without P. That's my big homie, bro. I ain't never doing nothing without him. This shows you Baby's character.
We always gonna salute loyalty on this channel for sure. That's what we already know.
Even when someone was offering him life-changing money, his first thought was to make sure his business partner was included. Baby wasn't trying to go behind P's back or cut him out of the deal. He was trying to do right by QC and make sure everyone got paid. Scooter told Baby he didn't need to bring P to the meeting, but Baby insisted. He was trying to honor his relationship with QC and maintain the loyalty that he thought was mutual. That loyalty was about to cost him everything. Because while Baby was being loyal and refusing to take meetings without P, P was having his own conversations with Scooter. And according to P's own words in the phone calls, Scooter went around Baby completely and made a deal directly with P to buy QC for $300 million. In the phone call, P explains exactly how this went down.
See how this YouTuber is trying to make it like a snaky situation. I'm sorry, and shout out to, like I said, shout out to hip hop history. But the way this sound like business. It sound like Lil Baby knew about the whole situation. He put P.O. and whatever else, and they did some partnership type of shit. And he got broke off on the back end. That's what it sounded like to me.
Scooter Run told Wham, I want to buy your rights, so I'm going to give you $150 million. Wham tell this dude, no, I'm cool. I got to bring Pete to the meeting. Man, that dude went straight around Wham and called Pete and bought the whole label from Pete. Think about what just happened there. Baby turned down $150 million because he wanted to be loyal to P and QC. But P took a
Maybe I'm
$300
tripping,
million
but I don't see
deal for the
he ain't doing
entire
nothing
label
wrong in that situation. He's supposed to do that.
without even consulting Baby. Baby's loyalty cost him $150 million, while P's betrayal made him $300 million. But it gets worse. According to the phone calls, Scooter didn't even want the whole label. He specifically wanted Baby's catalog. The $300 million deal was essentially Scooter paying for Baby's music, but the money went to P instead of Baby. In the phone calls, you can hear P talking about this like it's some kind of chess move. He's explaining to someone how Scooter tried to buy Baby direct.
This dude sound like a disgruntled. I wouldn't be surprised if he worked for QCP because this stuff he putting it, it's a stretch.
But when Baby refused without P being there, P just sold the whole label anyway. He's literally bragging about how he outmaneuvered his own artist. P says in the call, P go take the meeting without playing and get the business done. Of course I need to get the business done for $300-400 million for sure. But goddamn, bro. The casual way P talks about this is what makes it so damaging. He's not conflicted about betraying Baby's trust. He's not worried about the ethics of the situation.
How did he betray Baby's trust? Am I missing something? Baby, they approached Baby with the deal. Lil Baby, let's stop saying Baby, Lil Baby. With the deal, Lil Baby said, no, go holler at P. I don't want to do no business without P. They approached P with the deal. P made the deal. He made it bigger, and he got a piece of it. That's what homies supposed to do for each other type shit. I'm sure you got to be a fool if you think Lil Baby ain't get a piece of that. Come on now. I'm not. I think I'm lost here. He calling him a snake. I don't think that's accurate right now.
He's just focused on getting the biggest payday possible, regardless of how it affects the artist who created most of the value. And here's the most messed up part. Baby didn't get anything from that $300 million deal. The money went to P and Coach K as the owners of QC. Baby, the artist whose catalog was the main reason for the purchase, got nothing. His loyalty was rewarded with betrayal. The fallout from the Scooter Braun deal and the leaked phone calls was immediate and dramatic. Within days of the calls becoming public, Lil Baby and QCP unfollowed each other on Instagram. For an end.
Oh, okay. All right. Now we getting somewhere. Lil Baby was out the loop on that one. He cut him out. Okay. They unfollowed each other. You know what that means this time. Oh, they unfollowed each other on Instagram? That means a lot. Damn, that boy is snake, huh?
Industry that communicates through social media gestures. This was equivalent to a public declaration of war, but the social media unfollowing was just the tip of the iceberg. According to industry insiders, Baby's team immediately started exploring legal options to get out of his QC contract. The problem was that P had structured these deals to make it extremely expensive and difficult for artists to leave. P's response to the public backlash was telling. Instead of trying to explain his side of the story or justify his actions, he went on the attack. In a series of social media posts, P basically said that he didn't care what people thought about his business practices. In one deleted tweet, P wrote, "Imagine some broke-ass rats like Thuger, and these rats go trying to run a rat narrative."
Uh-oh, he's saying rat. When you ratted.
On me and all my people that I love running with these hoe-ass people, knowing how these people talk about me. I'm gonna say this for the last time. I'm not no street dude. I'm a tax-paying citizen that's running a business and taking care of my family. This response reveals a lot about P's mindset. He's not denying the allegations about how he treated Baby. Instead, he's attacking the credibility of the people making the allegations. He's also trying to distance himself from his street past, even though that same past was what gave him credibility with artists in the first place.
That's a narcissism that I'm better than, you feel me? So I could shit on you, rat on you, all that. And now I'm not one of you. I'm a tax-paying citizen. After you done ratted and went through it and used the streets to benefit yourself, now you're just a tax-paying citizen, and now you got the right to call other people rats. Amazing.
P continued, "All the street dudes is broke, dead, and in jail. So why do y'all continue to glorify this stuff?"
That's not a fact. And why is he addressing that when we talking about you robbing money from these artists? You feel me? With your nose like a goddamn big ass poblano.
Streets been dead. Y'all people gave the city a bad name. And by the way, I ain't never been
It's funny that the streets been dead theme. That's the thing that all the rats say. Him, Troy Ave, all of the rats say that the streets been dead.
in no courtroom on no stuff, sat in an interrogation room running people names. But this is where P's response becomes problematic because we have the court documents that show he absolutely did sit in interrogation rooms and provide information to police. He's literally lying about his past while attacking other people's credibility. The industry response was mixed. Some executives privately supported P, arguing that he was just doing business and that artists need to read their contracts more carefully, but others were disturbed by the level of manipulation and betrayal revealed in the phone calls. Several prominent artists spoke out about the situation, with many expressing support for Baby and criticism.
He came through. He one of them shiesty hustlers. You know, the hustler that was hustling the street, that a rat, like an Alpo or something like that. Those type of dudes, they don't trust nobody. Nobody should trust them, not one soul. He the type of dude that gonna come in the rap game, get his bag, and be the fuck out. And that's what he did. Jumped in the shit, got his bag, and been out. Like, it's a business, yeah. That's where the shit get complicated. Business, art form, okay, we get that. But it's still a business. That's what a lot of these dudes is focused on, the business aspect of it. They don't give a fuck about none of that other shit. The business. He came in here, made a bag, and got the hell on.
Of P's tactics. The conversation quickly expanded beyond just the QC situation to broader issues about how the music industry treats artists. Social media played a huge role in amplifying the story. Hip-hop fans and industry watchers dissected every detail of the phone calls, creating viral threads that explained the business implications of P's actions. The story became a case study in how not to treat your artists. But P also had defenders. Some people argued that he was just a smart businessman who had outmaneuvered his competition. They pointed to QC's success and argued that P had created value for everyone involved, even if the distribution of that value wasn't equal. The debate revealed a fundamental divide in how people think about the music industry. Some see it as a business where everyone is trying to maximize their own profits, and manipulation is just part of the game. Others believe that there should be ethical standards.
That's what I was talking about. Let's go.
That govern how industry executives treat the artists who create the value. If you want more evidence of how P operates, just look at what happened with Offset, because Offset's lawsuit against QC shows you exactly what happens when an artist tries to break free from P's system and how P responds when his control is.
So Migos didn't sue him. It's Offset that sued him. Or both. I gotta look that up.
Challenged. The Offset situation started in January 2021, when Offset paid millions of dollars to QC to get back the rights to his solo music. According to the lawsuit, the deal was clear and straightforward. When Offset makes music as a solo artist, QC doesn't get a cut. Offset literally bought his freedom, and for a while, everything seemed to be working fine. But then Offset dropped his hit song, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and suddenly QC wanted a piece of the profits. Even though Offset had paid to get his solo rights back, P was trying to claim ownership of Offset's new music. That's not just greedy, that's straight up contract violation. The lawsuit reveals some wild details about how P tried to maintain control over Offset even after he had paid to get out. According to Offset's legal team, P had been actively blackballing Offset for 2 years.
This motherfucker is like a Castellano nigga. He think he could go get all the money, rob all the artists, take everything, and keep it moving.
Trying to prevent him from getting features, radio play, and other industry support. Offset wasn't having it. He filed a lawsuit accusing QC and P of violating their deal and trying to sabotage his solo career. In a series of social media posts, Offset laid out his side of the story. They act like I'm the problem. I paid millions to get my rights back. You blackballed me and said I ain't at one time homie. I ain't spoke to you in 2 years. Now I drop and you want my name on my credit. This reveals the petty and vindictive side of P's personality. It wasn't enough for him to take Offset's money and let—
He do look like a petty nigga though. Sorry, I'm judging him, but he looked like a petty ass nigga.
Let him go. He also wanted to punish Offset for having the audacity to leave QC. The blackballing allegations suggest that P was using his industry connections to sabotage Offset's career out of spite. Cardi B, Offset's wife, also weighed in on the situation with her own social media posts. Offset brought himself out of his QC deal after they didn't want to renegotiate his contract. I'm tired of people trying to make Offset look like the bad guy. Enough is enough. What Cardi is revealing is that
Cardi stood up on him. Cardi was a good wife to that nigga. She said, I'm tired of this. She stood up for him on several occasions, too.
Offset didn't just randomly decide to leave QC. He tried to renegotiate his deal to get better terms, but QC refused. So Offset paid to get out, but QC is still trying to control his career. That's the definition of having your cake and eating it too. Take the buyout money, but still claim ownership of the artist's future work. But here's where it gets really petty. When Offset's lawsuit became public, P responded on social media with a deleted tweet that said, the last lawsuit was filed publicly and dismissed quietly. Let's see how this one go. Been too real for all this late. Everyone know the real problem. That tweet is telling because it shows P's mindset. He's not denying Offset's allegations. He's just saying that he's dealt with lawsuits before and he's confident he'll win this one too. It's like he expects artists to sue him. It's just part of doing business. The real problem P is referring to is probably the fact that Offset wanted independence from QC. In P's world, artists who try to leave or renegotiate their deals are the problem, not the contracts that trapped them in the first place. But the most revealing part of P's response was a video he made with Lil Baby, where they both said, the show must go on. The video.
That's to my point. Lil Baby was still happy there. Lil Baby chilling. I think is Lil Yachty still signed to QC?
Video was clearly meant to show that P still had Baby's support, but it actually revealed how P uses his relationship with successful artists to intimidate the ones who are trying to leave. The message was clear. If you try to fight QC, we'll use our other artists to show that you're the problem, not us. It's a classic manipulation tactic. Isolate the person who's speaking out by showing that everyone else is still loyal. But if you really want to see how ruthless P can be, you need to look at what happened with the Migos, because these were the artists who put QC on the map, who generated hundreds of millions in revenue for the label, and P still found a way to finesse them out of their fair share. The Migos lawsuit against QC, filed in 2019, revealed some absolutely wild details about how their contracts were structured. According to the lawsuit, their contracts were designed to last forever, with automatic renewals tied to QC's distribution deals. As long as QC had a distributor, the Migos contracts would automatically renew. That means they could never actually leave QC unless QC lost all of its distribution.
I see a Coach K coming out soon, documentary. Is this nigga gonna get P. Diddy?
Think about how insidious that contract structure is. The Migos thought they were signing a record deal with specific terms and a specific duration, but in reality, they were signing themselves into permanent servitude. As long as QC remained a functioning label, the Migos would be trapped. But it gets worse. The lawsuit alleged that their publishing percentages were way below industry standard, and that QC was taking the majority of revenue that should have been going to the artists. We're talking about a group that had multiple platinum albums, billions of streams, and sold-out world tours, but they were getting paid like they were still underground artists. The numbers are staggering when you think about it. Songs like Bad and Bougie, Stir Fry, and Walk It Talk It generated massive revenue across multiple platforms: streaming, radio, sync licensing, merchandise, and touring. But
but P saying, I spent the money to make that happen. I put the money behind it to buy the streams and buy the radio and buy that. He's saying he bought them. He bought their career.
To the lawsuit, the Migos were only seeing a small fraction of that money. The most damaging allegation was that the lawyer who negotiated their contracts also worked for QC. This is where you see the full scope of P's manipulation. The Migos thought they had independent legal representation protecting their interests, but their lawyer was actually working for the other side. Imagine going into a negotiation thinking you have an advocate, only to find out later that your advocate was secretly working for your opponent. That's not just unethical, it's potentially illegal. It explains how P was able to get the Migos to sign such unfavorable deals. They didn't have anyone actually looking out for their interests. In the Young Thug phone calls,
Guap wasn't looking out for him? I guess not. Guap's got his check. He said, all right, go ahead, have at it.
Thug actually confirms some of these allegations. He tells Baby, those dudes in the red, those dudes ain't making no money. He's saying that despite all their success, the Migos aren't actually profitable because of how their deals are structured. Thug goes even further, saying that some of the Migos members done bought their stuff back from QC, meaning they paid millions to get out of their contracts. So P was making money from their success, then making more money when they wanted to leave. This reveals the full scope of P's business model. He signs artists to exploitative contracts, profit.
Wow. That boy P. They say he vicious. I don't even want to get into the Yachty stuff or whatever is going on. This guy, hip hop history. It wasn't a bad documentary, but I just feel like he definitely might have worked for QC. He definitely got some issues with the boy. But man, we got other things on the menu. We're gonna push past that. How I feel about it. Hey, only ones I heard that sued him was Offset. I don't even think Migos sued him. I think that was Cap. Basically, you can't go by everything a YouTuber is saying. I did want to look at his point of view though. He has some good shit to say. But what it sounds like to me is your boy is a real businessman. Before we get into Gina Conway, let me just watch this little short thing. Funk Flex took over the morning show. I already said I think he behind the reason why they got fired. He one of them. He know how to play the game though. But we're gonna play the urban politicians. Urban politicians one, you feel me? Because I mess with homeboy, he down south. He always keep that cup in his hand. Let's go.
The city. Flex knows what he's doing.
Oh, no. Flex knows what he's doing. He gonna stay. Listen, if that's what you want to be and that's how you want to stay in the game, Flex is gonna play that game. He's always played that game. The new owners here at Hot 97, they can start coming for us real quick because I know they look at this line, they look at the amount of money they paying for this show every month, and they trying to figure out a way to get rid of some bodies up here. So keep your hands and feet in the ride. What'd you say, Laura?
They don't necessarily love our point of view.
Oh no, they don't love that. They love Flex shouting, what was he shouting? Murga.
Make radio
great again last night. Yo, Flex is such a piece.
Yo,
wow. Yeah, you already know. Flex talking about make radio great again. Make radio great again.
Flex.
Yeah.
Make radio great again.
Flex has openly acknowledged his sucker style for years. He knows exactly what he's doing. Because all Flex cares about is being on this radio, being in the clubs. He loves being a DJ. Stuff. What it looks like to me is they cut 2 salaries and whittled it down to 1.
I'm surprised people didn't see that. I guess, no, it's not as exciting to read the time slots. But like, read the times. Everything just got closer together. That's saving money. That's all. That's the name of the.
And by the way, in my 30 plus years in this business, I always remind people we don't own these microphones, we don't own these broadcast signals. We come up here, they pay us a fee, we provide entertainment for y'all to engage with, et cetera, et cetera. They don't give us nothing. They don't owe us nothing. We might pop up tomorrow and they playing country music. We have no control over that.
That's a fact.
Zero control.
Yo, it's Big Ant, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in.
It's crazy how these out of towners they focus on the New York radio too. And I know that morning show went crazy, and a lot of people love that shit. Let's hear what he got.
Broke into hip hop media news Friday that Ebro Hot 97 morning show had came to an end as him and his co-host had been fired and denied, and they will no longer be over there on that.
He sound like he happy about it.
Radio station with that situation. And I put that clip right there that we watched together in the beginning to go back to September when it was already moves happening, because I went back and checked that out because I kind of remembered that, but I went back and got re-caught up on that situation going on with Funk Flex, as they were saying already what was coming next. As now Funk Flex has taken over that morning time slot as reports started to hit last night and earlier to this morning, as Ebro has most definitely been doing double talking, now promoting the YouTube himself and saying, come to my YouTube channel, calling them out. But you've been playing this game all along, just keeping it 100. Funkmaster Flex is taking over mornings at New York City's Hot 97 WQHT, at least for now. Following the abrupt end of Ebro in the morning, Media Co confirmed to Radio Inc. that the hip-hop radio icon will hold the day part down until further notice, starting on Monday, December 15th. Flex has been with Hot 97 for more than 30 years.
Flex is going to be the new program director. That's what's about to happen. Flex is about to be the boss of that motherfucking place. Ebro, homeboy, you was too opinionated. They ain't like that. You was doing too much. Flex about to take over. I hope they get rid of the guru. Like I said, that was whack. Get rid of that ride or die. That was done. Get rid of that. All of those skits. They shit was terrible. So hey, God bless. Gina Conway situation. I want to hear this. You know, this the Max B with the girl that was got caught up in the situation. I just want to hear her side of the story. They said it all.
Okay. So after your statement, Max B and Kelvin both get arrested.
Yes.
And
they look crazy. I skipped it though. Hold up. We got to go back.
okay. So you're locked up.
See, Vlad is slick. Okay. That's like the cue when he about to switch it up.
For 2.5 years awaiting trial. And leading.
I think I did it one more. One wish.
Well, you get arrested, you get taken to the station, and according to reports, you gave a statement right away.
Yes, I did actually. It was like, I didn't know that I was giving a statement because where I'm from, like in Maryland, to give a statement, you actually have to like write.
And according to reports, you gave a statement right away.
You gave a statement right away.
Yes, I did actually. It was like, I didn't know that I was giving a statement because where I'm from, like in Maryland, to give a statement, you actually have to like write it out and sign it. It got to be like formal. But here,
she's high right there. She's high doing the interview. She's on something. Something ain't right with her. She said, I didn't even know I was doing a statement because in Maryland, you got to write formal statement. But she said she's not involved in no type of crime. She's never been in trouble. How you know what you got to do in Maryland as far as statements and stuff? But just looking at her, she on some shit, bro. Let me bring it one more time. She on a good Perkins, bro.
Well, you get arrested, you get taken to the station, and according to reports, you gave a statement right away.
Yes, I did actually. It was like, I didn't know that I was giving a statement because where I'm from, like in Maryland, to give a statement, you actually have to like write it out and sign it. It got to be like formal. But here,
she's definitely on a perk 30.
I think it's the same way, but the cops, like the marshals in New Jersey, what they did while I was talking, not formally giving a statement, but talking, they had a tape recorder that I did not know about, and they were recording, and they were actually taking advantage of the fact that, they wasn't in, you know, we wasn't in a real jurisdiction. Like we were in New York, but it
Show you like what the pimps do. They take a female of low, intelligence. Obviously, it looked like, and I'm sorry, but she got a low grade. She didn't make it past, I don't know what grade, but she was manipulated, yeah. But right now, she thinks she's just be honest and tell the truth, because we know she lying though. She knew what was popping.
was they were taking advantage, basically. Like we were in New York and it was New Jersey. I feel like they took advantage of me constitutionally, like my rights. I had no knowledge of it being recorded, so.
Right, but to be fair, when you get arrested, they say anything you say can and will be used against you. So if you say anything, you should already be aware that it could be used against you.
Facts, but nobody said that to me. So that was also
You saying you didn't get your Miranda rights read?
A motion that I filed, a Miranda Act. Nobody said that to me at all. So no.
Got it. Okay, so you get to the station and they record your statement at that point. And in that
point, she like, I don't like you, Vlad. She see it. She got an attitude. She got mad, but she got to do it because she got paid. But when girls get their little, she know he's being, and look at her face. She tight, tizzy.
Statement at that point. And in that recorded statement, you identified Kelvin as the shooter in terms of David Taylor getting killed. You described the robbery in detail, and you also said that Max B was the one who orchestrated the plan and sent you to the hotel with Kelvin.
Yes, correct.
Damn.
And at that point, you were the only one arrested?
Yes.
Whew. I mean, man. So without her, there would be no. If she would have just went down for it, she would have went down for capital murder, been still in jail for life. What you expect when you involve a female? I think they know. They don't blame her. That's already known. Once it go down bad and the female get caught, you already know what's gonna happen. Let's keep it going. Vlad probably gonna strike this shit anyway, but let's keep it rocking.
Okay. So you're locked up for 2.5 years awaiting trial. And leading up to the trial, you finally take a plea deal where you pled guilty to manslaughter for Taylor's death and the armed robbery in the hotel room.
Yes.
And part of the plea agreement was you agreed to testify for the state against Max B and Kelvin.
Yes.
Because they had a joint trial in 2009. So how did you feel signing that plea deal?
I felt terrible. I felt like, I just felt very it's something that I did not want to do, because first of all, I was signing something that, I wasn't guilty of, so I felt, it just was wrong.
I think everybody, the census is everybody thinks she knew about the whole situation, and she called Bigavelli to go and set that up type of stuff. He got money. I think that's what people are thinking. And I'm kind of leaning that way too.
And I know a lot of times, people do sign plea deals or whatever, just so that they won't get a lot of time, even if they didn't do it. But yeah, I felt terrible. And then having to take the stand against somebody that, I was in love with at the time, it it was horrible.
Well, to be fair, what you pled guilty for, you actually were involved in. I mean, it didn't say that you were the trigger person, but you were involved in a robbery that turned into a murder, right?
She pled to something. I don't know about y'all, but really, if you didn't really know nothing about it, for real, you just an innocent girl, why not go take it to trial all the way? And I didn't know what the fuck them dudes was doing. I didn't know. But she pled to find out, but
that's the manslaughter part. The armed robbery.
Yeah, she pled to manslaughter.
You did grab a bunch of things and take them with you. That's the robbery part. So
facts.
It's not like they just made up a bunch of stuff and you agreed to it not to do.
She said facts.
I think that what you pled guilty for was relatively accurate.
I mean, it's a scope of a difference, like in the law, you know, in order to make a crime, if you study law, you have to have intent and you have to have knowledge of a crime and intent. And pretty much like those things, they weren't present. Like I wasn't the type of person that would just out on my own go rob and do that. I've done that
on your own. You're not going to do it on your own. You need a shooter. You need some. There's no way you explaining yourself out of this one, mama. You took the goods on the way out. He pleaded guilty to manslaughter. Damn. He was with it.
Did the rest because I was, afraid of like physical or bodily harm or, some sort of fear. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't a person that just go out and.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I guess because maybe niggas like, nigga, get that, grab that. Come on, get that shit. Come on. I don't know. But like I said, if you didn't do nothing, fuck it, take it all the way to court. And I ain't do that shit. Fuck you. Manslaughter, I ain't do none of that. I ain't know nothing that these dudes was going to do. But you called homie, who came through with you, and y'all did what y'all did, though.
Do that. So there was no intent. I was told to do it by someone that I felt had power over me, that if I didn't do it, I would be punished in a way. So, like, yeah. I mean, so I was actually there, present.
The thing is, how did he know? There. How did Max B know about dude, and how did he know that he got the money? You said you was told to do it. You met this dude and you went to him and you said, "Oh, he got money," and y'all did that.
They're present, but the intent wasn't there. And
right.
And the knowledge.
I get that part.
And the robbery.
I get the part of what you're saying.
Yeah, and the robbery, like me.
I think it was intent for robbery. I don't think it was intent for murder, but it was definitely intent for robbery.
Going in that car, I had no idea that a robbery and a murder were going to take place.
Yeah.
By me going in that car. All I knew when I got in that car is if I didn't go, then, maybe I'll get embarrassed out here. Like maybe, maybe something might happen to me or, I wasn't thinking right. But yeah, you are right.
Well, all right. And remember what I said earlier, had the whole situation occurred, the murder happened, you grabbed the stuff, and had you call the police right then and there and say, listen, this is what happened. The guy had a gun. He forced me to duct tape everyone and grab the stuff. I don't want to have any piece of it. Here's who they all are. As opposed to, okay, let's grab the stuff, go to this place, and then call Max, take it to the sisters-in-law's place. So now you're transporting stolen property to multiple places. I think that's the whole narrative.
Yeah.
I think that had you just called the police right then and there and said, this is exactly what happened, and I'm going to completely cooperate, you might have gotten like probation or not even, done any jail time. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like I said, it was a robbery, intent for robbery. She didn't know that murder was going to happen.
But of course, hindsight is 20/20. Had I done this or whatever, I can understand in the moment, you just witness a murder in front of you and you don't have no idea what's happening, yeah, I mean, you start to make a series of bad decisions along the way.
Yeah, I actually wish I did. Yeah, I actually wish I did.
Okay, so you do a plea deal, but when you do a plea deal and agree to testify, they don't tell you how much time you're going to get. They just say cooperate and we'll tell the judge to take it easier on you, right?
No, when I took the plea deal, they initially said, well, when I signed the deal, they initially said that it was I would have to do 15 years with 85%. But you know, when they first came to me offering for me to take the plea, you know, they were saying, okay, take this plea. We want you to write a statement, sign it, which I never did. And we're gonna give you, they were coming crazy, like we're gonna give you 60 years. You know, and of course,
And you still was willing to rap for 60 years.
you know, I told them to like beat it or whatever. I'm like, yeah, go ahead, like beat it.
Damn.
I wasn't gonna take 60 years. I didn't do it anyway. So
You didn't do what? You introduced, if it wasn't for you, that dude would be still alive. You ain't do what? That's not funny, y'all.
Okay, so after your statement, Max B and Kelvin both get arrested.
yes,
And all three of you get indicted on the same counts.
She looked
Murder.
She looked like she was something else back then.
And felony murder, armed robbery, kidnapping, conspiracy, and weapons charges.
yes.
You're facing 75 years for your involvement. And initially, the cops said that you were the mastermind of the whole situation.
I believe that's what Max's defense attorney said.
How is it not, though? Because Max didn't meet this dude on the street. The goon that killed him didn't meet him on the street. You met him on the street, and you introduced him to these dudes. What you thought it was going to be a threesome or some weird stuff? I don't know why you introduced him to Max.
Okay, so
It was like you was out there looking for licks because you was already allegedly with Max when you met him. You met him outside, this and that. It was like you was out there looking.
we're never being accused of being the mastermind?
Yes, I've heard that, but I believe that came from Max's defense camp. But I mean, that's like totally absurd to me because, you know, like I'm not, you know, I know it doesn't matter, but like I'm not even from New York City. Like, how can I orchestrate a robbery? I don't even know where I am. So I mean, it's far-fetched, but okay.
Now, you have $1 million bail set, but you can't pay that.
Bitch.
No.
So you're sitting in jail.
Yes.
You can't afford a lawyer either.
No.
So you get a court-appointed lawyer.
Yes.
Now, Max B, he actually bails out.
Yes.
So the two of you talk to a certain extent?
Yes. Yeah.
So what are you guys saying to each other while everyone's awaiting trial?
At first it was like you know, mean, like nasty letters, like, oh, you did this to me. You know, as far as like, you know, his career is about to, you know, pop off and, you know, this, that, and the third. And then it was just basically like love letters and stuff like that. But yeah, we talked the whole time. We talked.
Well, but you did make a statement against him already.
Okay, so with
He didn't
that,
know.
like I said, I was not aware that I had made a statement.
Right, but he was aware of it. He had a lawyer.
Yeah. So when we went to when we moved, like when I moved to Bergen County, when I moved to Jersey, like they transported us to Jersey. I didn't know until like our arraignment that they had put me as a witness against him, when I only found out because they had us like on separate sides of the courtroom. So like I didn't find that out until like the day I was transported to Jersey, that like we were on separate sides.
Okay. Did Max ever offer to pay for a lawyer?
Yes, he offered to pay for my lawyer, and then even afterwards, even when we were still on like separate sides or whatever, we still talked. He still communicated. He still sent me money
She still love this dude too.
sometimes and stuff like that when I was locked up.
Okay.
Well,
Now,
okay.
Max B is out. Him and Jim Jones start to beef. I think French Montana gets involved in that beef. Are you seeing all this stuff on the internet, or do you not really have access to it because you're locked up?
Well, I was locked up, so I didn't have access. Like when I was locked up for the whole time after he was out for those 2 years on bail. I was locked up, so I didn't see anything. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, I had met Max right around that time, and also French. And I was around him this one night. It was in the studio with Dame Grease, and Max was so drunk that Dame just said, forget the whole thing. He just shut down the whole video shoot. Max jumps in his car, stone drunk, drives off. And it just seemed like he was really, really just going through it, and it was just trying to just get as drunk and high as possible to just deal with it.
Right.
I'm trying to get high as I can. Man, ain't that something? Gina Conway, what it do? Hey, I ain't gonna lie. When the case went down, I was like, oh, I know Vlad gonna get all these interviews. I can't wait till Vlad get them. I was waiting for these interviews. Man, Gina Conway, crazy situation. One more thing I want to get into, queso pops. Sorry, y'all know what I do here, man. This shit was another crazy situation. The pops that told on his son. I love my son to death. I can't even imagine this type of shit. But hey, the situation was crazy. Let's peep.
All right, here we go. Today we have the first ever interview with Abdul Robinson Sr., aka Queso's dad. Abdul was charged with accessory after the fact to first-degree murder in the shooting death involving his son Queso. Abdul made headlines when he took the stand against his son Queso, which ultimately led to Queso getting found guilty and sentenced to life without parole. Abdul is breaking silence today and addressing everything. Abdul, welcome to Vlad TV.
Glad to be here. Been wanting to be heard for a long time,
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. You grew up in Jacksonville, Florida.
He wanted to be there a long time. It took him to tell on his son. It took him to tell on his son to get there. He wanted to be there a long time. He said, damn, that's all I do is tell on my boy to get here. Glad to be here.
Start hustling and getting in trouble.
I'll say about 1985.
Okay, you're about 14 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, what'd you start doing in the beginning?
Well, start first I started out as a jack.
Like when he was telling and he knew he's about to get out, this was all in his vision. He's like, I'm gonna get some interviews, do a Vlad interview, Can Capone, whatever else, to get my interviews on, get on my YouTube. What y'all say is coming next, y'all? He gonna start his channel. You already know that. He gonna start the YouTube channel, man.
Boy, that was my hustle at one time. You know, until I came across the right lick, then I turned to the drug game. Then, you know, it just blew from there. I kept doing it. I lost a friend in a robbery. And after I lost that friend in the robbery, I didn't want to do that no more.
Okay, because before you went to prison for 11 years, you got arrested 4 times for murder?
Yes.
Okay, and you beat all 4 of those cases.
Yeah.
Did any of them go to trial?
No.
Okay, how'd you end up beating all 4?
It was dropped. Insignificant evidence.
Okay, so you beat all the murder charges, but
we gotta go back and research that. Guarantee that boy probably told on everybody back then, like he told on his son.
Then in 1999, you get arrested for conspiracy to distribute cocaine.
Right.
Did you end up going to trial over that, or you pled out?
I pled out.
Okay, and this is a Fed case.
Yes.
What exactly did they catch you with?
It was a conspiracy. It was a dry conspiracy. I wasn't caught with nothing, you know. People told that I sold drugs and things like that, and that's how they got the conspiracy built up against me and my co-defendant.
How much cocaine did they say that you have in terms of the witnesses?
When I can't say it, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know it was up in the tons.
Right, because you pled out to 11 years, which means that it was a lot of quantity.
What Vlad is trying to get to is you beat 4 bodies. You got caught with tons of drugs. How the fuck is you free now? Could it be the same way? You know what I mean? The same way you free telling on your son. Could it be that? How you get 4 bodies? Now we talking about tons of drugs. And you free.
Well, I played out to 22 years and 10 months, 262 months.
Okay.
So he did hell of time, okay. The 4 bodies though, how you do that? But hey, he did some time.
So you pled out to 22 years, you ended up doing half of that?
Half of it.
Okay, how'd you get out early?
Well, Obama came with I think it's called the First Step Act. It was a crack law. I was charged with crack. Once the crack law changed, that changed everyone's sentence significantly. It depends in the feds. See, in the feds, it's categories that you're sentenced to, and that was my first conviction ever. So I was in a good category at the time. I think I was in category 1 or 2. And once you get to category 4 and 5, that's where the big time come in at. And so that's how my time got reduced.
Okay, now leading up to you going to the feds for 11 years, had you ever been shot?
Had I ever been shot?
Yeah.
One time.
Okay, what was that situation about?
Oh, it was someone did a drive-by in the projects. I never knew what it was about.
Okay, where'd you get shot?
In the hip.
Vlad slick with the information, with the shit though. Okay, what was the situation about? Police.
Okay, so you'd been around shootings before.
Right.
So you go to prison and you're in the feds for 11 years.
Yes.
And during that time, you actually mature as a man because you go in at 28, you get out at 40.
Right.
So your whole 30s are spent locked up.
Locked up.
What changed during those 11 years?
Well, see, in the feds, you around a lot of different caliber dudes. You can in the feds, you got an opportunity to learn a lot of things too. It depends on how you want to do your time. And around certain dudes, you're gonna mature because you're gonna think you was out there doing your thing, but you're gonna be around some guys and dudes that was really doing their thing. And it makes you think like, dang, I was really in the way. I wasn't really doing nothing. You know, you be in the feds with dudes who forfeit $1.7 million easily.
When you think about his situation though, as I think about it, is it better that he's out, his son in jail, as opposed to both of them in jail for life, and all them kids he got out there by themselves. So I don't know. I really feel like if I was Queso, I would definitely probably sanction him to tell on me. I'll be like, go ahead, nigga. Go on and get out and go handle your business with the kids. But I think the situation is Queso think he got action. He think he had action on getting out. I don't know.
You know, dudes have so much in there. And once you see you look back at your situation, reflect on your situation, you like, I was really in the way. Then, you know, once you kind of mature, you can mature from prison or you can come out a better criminal.
Man. Crazy episode. A lot of wild stuff, man. Shout out to all the platforms. Like I said, DJ Vlad. We're going to be following a lot of this stuff, bro. It's your boy Bush, man. We just do the reactions. And that's what I do right now. Anyway, shout out to everybody. It's a wobbler, cheat challenge. Bullite and Tune Perspective, y'all. We out. Another reaction video. Peace.
Check this out. You know what it is. It's your boy Bush. Just another reaction video. Let's get into it. Let's get in tune. Another perspective dedicated to my little bro, always Marco, and my big cuz, Maul Maji. Free Mace Lope. Let's get right to it.
I'm Bush, the host here to react. Got Bullite on my mind, mighty bull. He's got the flow, he's got the beat. Can't stop when I see